Hey guys, my name is Jeremy Hare, History of Jonathan Edwards 435. Got quite a bit of information for you today talking about Jonathan Edwards and his contemporaries and the revival spirit. Jonathan Edwards is known by many as the greatest American theologian as well as the greatest American pastor. He's known first and foremost by his sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. Edwards' style of preaching was totally different than Whitefield. Whitefield had superfluous emotions and exquisite language, and he was just the greatest speaker and orator, one of the greatest of his time. They said that Edwards, though, on the other hand, didn't have great speaking abilities, but he was a great reasoner. Samuel Davies said that he was the greatest reasoner that America has ever produced. When he got up in the pulpit to preach, he had his transcript in his face, and he walked and reasoned through his sermons. But they said that especially during Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God at Enfield, that when he got up and he started preaching, he said people started wailing and crying and hollering out. And Edwards had to stop the service to get people to calm down so he could get his point across. He liked the emotions and he liked the Spirit of God moving, but he wanted to touch not only the emotions but the heart. He wanted a true conversion that would last. That's why he preached the cross and the grave. And that's why, he wanted to hit the emotions, but he wanted to hit the intellect as well. This is a little bit different than George Whitefield. Whitefield was an Anglican minister, and according to Bob Jones researchers, they said that most Anglicans emphasized religious, ritual, or moral living, but Whitefield, he may have done that some, but his most important thing that he done was he preached on personal conversion, just like Edwards. And, he did get up and he wept through sermons. According to Dr. R.L. Heimers Jr. and George Marsden, Whitefield was known for weeping often in the pulpit. However, this was not a sign of acting, but a sign of being moved by God. Now you see the correlation of the two. Edwards got up and now he was not emotional, but his sermons pinpointed and hit the heart. And the people were emotional. And then when Whitefield got up and preached, the emotions and the Spirit hit him, and that was conveyed through his sermons. He got up and he preached without notes, and he done it at a high level. They said Whitefield preached some 18,000 sermons, 40 hours a week, not including study time. Start 4 in the morning, end about 10 at night. But they said he was a superb speaker, and they said people would go, even if they weren't believers, they went just to hear him speak. They said one guy, he said he would give 100 guineas. Guineas was popular back then. 100 guineas just to be able to say, "Oh," like George Whitefield. He was a great orator, a great pastor. Not necessarily a pastor. He was an evangelist. He never had his set church. But, he was a great man of God, and he was moved by the Spirit. Another contemporary of Jonathan Edwards and George Whitefield that don't quite get the publicity is Gilbert Tennent. Gilbert Tennent, follower of George Whitefield, they joined forces, I think it was in 1739, and, that's where Tennent got that revival zeal from Whitefield. And, he went on and followed him for a while, and then, George Whitefield come to America roughly 7 times and preached revivals. And one of those times when he went back to England, they said that Gilbert Tennent carried the torch. And he was very, very big on preaching on unconverted ministers, and he was most popular for preaching the sermon, "The Danger of an Unconverted Ministry." And what this consisted of was him getting up and saying that if a minister was not converted, he could not lead anyone to Christ. And so he felt like that the minister had to be converted so he could actually lead the congregants to Christ. According to Bob Jones researchers again, Tennent had a zeal, but at times it got him into trouble with leaders in the Presbyterian Synod. And this actually ended up moving him to New York. As you see, that these were three of the greatest religious figures in history, and their revival zeal. And I could talk days about it, but I just wanted to give you a little information. And happy Good Friday, guys. If it was not for this day that we're celebrating today, we would not be talking about Whitefield and Tennent and Edwards and all these other men. Hope you have a great weekend. Love you guys. I'll definitely be praying for you.